Hello everyone, it's Benny, and I am in a really good mood right now. You might be wondering, hey Benny, why are you in such a good mood? Because, as Cube Animation has just asked, I know a thing or two about CCA. It is like the holy grail of adders. And my word, it is amazing. I cannot wait to show you guys just how awesome this type of adder is. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you some further ado. Because, here's the thing. This adder is so awesome that simply showing you this adder won't really do justice to how amazing it is. I mean, adders have been done for years and years. And it was so overdone that at one point they called the Redstone Development Foundation the Adder Development Foundation, because everyone just built nothing but adders. And if you're not in the Redstone world, that might just seem weird. Why? Why do you care? Why are you spending so much time just doing adders? Adders have been around forever. What difference does it make? So I'm going to take you through a little bit of the history of the adder. Not just to give you a history lesson, because through this, I think you will really understand and appreciate just how amazing this adder is, and just, wow, what an incredible step forward this is. And for the record, yeah, I know this is not new at all. This has been around for a few years in my absence, but I'm back. I'm getting around to it now, so let's talk about adders. This is a ripple carry adder. This is what a lot of people think of when they think of adders and redstone. And the reason this adder is so well known is because of its simplicity. It is the most straightforward implementation of addition you can get, really, even outside of redstone, even in general circuitry. I mean, this is how simple it is. You take your two inputs, you XOR them, and that's right there. If they're both on, that generates a carry, which would come in here if I had another bit. And finally, you XOR the XOR itself with the carry, and that's your output. Really, it's not too complicated if you understand the logic. I have videos explaining it if you want this more in depth, by the way. Point is, it's a straightforward, simple implementation of addition. It's compact, they're not too big. If I want to add numbers like, say, 3 and 5, what do you know? I get 8, the correct answer. So, what's wrong with this? Why would anyone have any issues with this style of adder? There are two really big problems with this type of adder. The first is speed. Not just that it's slow. People use slow circuits all the time, and sure, they're slow, but they get the job done, right? What's the problem? The problem is how it's slow, and let me show you what I mean by that. How long does it take this adder to decide this bit is on? How long does it take to compute this bit? Well, this XOR gate is 2 or 3 ticks depending on the inputs. So, 2 or 3 ticks plus another 2 or 3 ticks from this XOR gate is 4 to 6 ticks. So, round up, say 6 ticks. Not a big deal. What's the problem? We have a number. Well, the thing is the carry. This carry, how long does it take to get that? Well, it can come from this AND gate, in which case it's 2 ticks, or it can come from the previous carry, in which case it's 2 ticks plus this carry's delay, which could either be 2 ticks, or it could be 2 ticks plus the previous carry, which could be 2 ticks, or it could be 2 ticks plus the previous carry. Do you see the problem here? How long exactly it takes to compute this bit could essentially be any random number between 4 and some upper bound that depends on how many bits you have. And that's a problem, because you really have no idea when you're going to get the correct number here, or in any of the bits here. So how long this adder takes, for all intents and purposes, is random. And, I mean, sure, you can compute the upper bound for it, but, you know, you still want to know this is when I have the correct number in most cases, and that's just, random doesn't cut it. People don't like circuits that have random delays. And that sort of brings us to the other problem. While this is computing, during the random phase, these bits can essentially be anything. I mean, sure, strictly speaking, none of this is random. Just like, strictly speaking, which side a coin lands on isn't totally random. There are ways to calculate it. But for all practical purposes, you're not going to know, so for all intents and purposes, it's random. And, again, that's a problem. Especially when you're setting this, say, an output, and it's just flickering between a whole different series of numbers. Which one's correct? Are any of them correct? How do you know when it's correct? It's just, that sort of uncertainty that's really, it's irksome. It's not unmanageable, but it's like a bad itch. It's really annoying, and you feel like, come on, surely there has to be some better way of doing this. That's at the very least not, for all intents and purposes, random in how long it takes and what flickers through the outputs while I'm waiting. There has to be a better way. This is an instant carry adder. And if you've done a fair bit of Redstone, you've probably heard or seen of this too. This is a lot like the ripple carry adder I just showed you, except it attacks the carry problem head-on. This line right here, that's sort of blocked off by pistons a bit, this is all that carry logic that 2 or 2 and previous carry, all that nonsense is just one line right here. And it just retracts the right pistons for the right inputs, and just power it, and you get the right carry. It's almost like magic. So, this really, really helps. This adder, for example, is 3.5 ticks, so you have a consistent speed. You don't have to worry about potentially random inputs flashing through while you're waiting. And it's still small and still reasonably simple to build. The wiring, especially in a compact design like this, gets a little bit creative, but all in all, still small, still simple, fast, addresses the problem. So what's wrong with instant carry? Why on earth would you need anything other than this? I mean, it solves the problem, right? Thing is, instant carry brings its own set of problems, and you might have already picked up on it a bit when I said this is 3.5 ticks in delay. Because, thing is, pistons. At least the way they're used in instant carry, they have a different delay for adding, for retracting, and extending. So, that's a problem, because that means the inconsistent output problem hasn't really gone away. It's still there, it's just sort of been reduced from a range of X ticks to a potentially very large number, depending number of bits, to just a sort of narrower range. The other problem is pulsing. If you hit the wrong inputs in the wrong order, it'll sometimes give a brief pulse, like a half-tick pulse, through the carry line. And that's not really what you want. You don't want any pulsing. Some designs can avoid that, but you know, it's again. So basically, the bottom line is instant carry still has the problems of ripple carry. It's just the logic allows them to sort of be compacted into a narrower range, which in some ways actually makes them even more annoying, because they're even more subtle and rare and seemingly random. than before. So it's a step in the right direction, but still, this isn't really... It still leaves that itch. It still feels like, come on, there has to be some way to build an adder where you don't have to deal with a whole bunch of random nonsense. This is a carry look-ahead adder. Specifically, it is a carry look-everywhere adder, which is a certain kind of carry look-ahead adder. The big thing that these adders do is they solve the inconsistent output, pulsing, and timing problems. Every output, doesn't matter what the numbers are, what order they arrive in, what combination they arrive in, anything, doesn't matter. It will always give outputs at the same time, in sync, no pulsing, no quirks, no nothing, just straight output. And coming from ripple carry and instant carry, that's like a miracle. Really. And you know what? They managed to do this and still be fast. This is only 4 ticks, which also means no annoying half ticks or other timing weirdness to deal with. But really, the big thing is the consistent outputs. One of the reasons this is a huge step in the right direction is because a lot of higher order redstone logic, like multipliers, dividers, square roots, or computers, a lot of them benefit significantly from being able to have reliable and consistent outputs at the same time. It enables pipelining and streaming and a whole bunch of things that allow you to make things basically better. That's more of a context-dependent thing, but the short story is, it's good. So, these are really great for any more advanced logic. But the problem, as you can probably see, is it's big. This is a single 8-bit carry look everywhere adder. That over there is a single 8-bit CPU, a complete CPU with the ALU, the counter, registers, everything. And the very fact that they're comparable in size should tell you something about how much extra space you have just by, well, going with a carry look-ahead design. The other problem, as you may have guessed, is it's complicated. There's the wiring, especially at the beginning here, it's going all over the place. It's going everywhere. And, I mean, it's in the name, it's carry look everywhere. But, yeah, the logic is complicated. And honestly, carry look everywhere is one of the simpler ones as far as the logic goes. Other things like Cogstone and Ladner Fisher, or proper English's proper look-ahead adder, the logic gets really sort of... It gets a little wonky. So they're big and they're complicated. That's not really what you wanted in adders. I mean, before, adders were small. They were simple. Sure, they had a few inconsistent output problems. But why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you just have an adder that's reasonably sized, reasonably fast, and has consistent outputs? Why can you not get that? Why do you have to make these bizarre trade-offs anytime you want just a simple adder? It all goes back to the itch. This is the thing that's kept Redstoners building adders over and over and over and over again, and when they're done they go back and build some more, because there just has to be some way to not have all these bizarre quirks and drawbacks and having an adder. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to our final adder design. This is a carry cancel adder, and this is the holy grail of redstone adders. Right off the bat, you notice this thing is small. In fact, this particular carry cancel adder is even smaller than that instant carry adder I showed you way over there in the distance. And I'm like 98% sure that instant carry adder is the smallest possible in Redstone, or at least maybe within a block of it. So these things are tiny. Second thing you'll notice, it's fast. This is only 4 ticks, so right on par with carry look everywhere and carry look ahead, right on par with instant carry once you account for the half tick, because it's 3.5 ticks, and half ticks can be a bit weird. So it's small, it's fast, and the outputs are totally synchronized. Doesn't matter if I put in this one first, or that one first, or if I put them at the same time, or if I put in which numbers I'm putting in. It doesn't matter. There's no way to screw with it. There's no pulsing, there's no desynchronization, there's no randomness. You put in whatever you want, whenever you want, and you get the correct answer 4 ticks. Simple as that. So, you have all that. That means this essentially has all the benefits of instant carry and carry look everywhere, because this isn't even that complicated. In fact, the logic is basically ripple carry. You have the carry tower, which is its own thing, but beyond that, you have XOR the inputs, they feed into the carry tower, and then you XOR the XOR with the carry. Simple as that. It's simple, it's fast, it's ideal for higher order circuits like multipliers, dividers, square roots, CPUs, etc., because everything is synchronized. What could possibly make this any better? Believe it or not, it does get even better, because this has something that none of those adders offer. Vectorization. If I power right here, all of a sudden, this isn't an 8-bit adder anymore. It's 2 4-bit adders stacked on top of each other. That means if you built this in a CPU, you could get all of your different vectorization combos and sim instructions for free. It's same component, same logic, just power the carry in the right place, and there you go. So this thing right here, it is absolutely amazing. But there are some disadvantages. Not very big disadvantages in my opinion, but there are a few. The most obvious one is if I add 2 numbers together, the signal strength for the output is pretty weak. So for most applications, unless you're using the output immediately, you're going to need to repeat it until you can get the output to where you want to go. Now if you're using this in series, like say I take the output and it immediately feeds into this different circuit because I need the result of addition for something else, it's not a problem at all, but, you know, depending on what you use it for, it's something to keep in mind. Second issue, though it's not quite as obvious, is signal strength. The inputs need to be approximately the same signal strength in order for it to work. Otherwise, this XOR, well, it won't exactly XOR, it'll just sort of OR, and yeah, that doesn't quite work. So, you gotta be mindful of the signal strength, which, yeah, not really a huge issue. Most of the time, inputs are going to be coming from torches, or repeaters, or wires, basically something that will be giving the same signal strength for both. So usually this isn't much of an issue, but again, it's worth keeping in mind. And the final and most significant disadvantage, in my opinion, are the carrying. Because these carry towers over here, they need to be 17 high for 8 bits. And that means you have to do a little bit of creative busing for, especially in a compact design like this, for the carry-in to reach everything. There might be a trick to it that I don't know about yet. I don't know. I do not pretend to be a complete expert in these just yet. But, yeah, for example here, I have 2 different carry-ins that both have to be on to generate a carry-in. But in any case, those are really the only disadvantages to this. It's small, it's fast, it's got everything. This is what Redstoners have been searching for when they've been building those adders over and over and over again. This is what they had in mind. The carry cancel adder really is, in many respects, the ultimate Redstone adder. So, now you know the history of Redstone adders. You know how we went from the most basic ripple carry adder design to more and more elaborate designs in pursuit of the holy grail of Redstone adders. And more importantly, you know why we took all those steps that we did. And now, you're probably wondering, okay, this is the ultimate Redstone adder. How on earth does it work? And more importantly, how do I build it? Find out next time in my upload on how carry cancel adders work and how to build one. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned. And I'll see you next time.